First thing I want to say is really great work by you, your team, law enforcement, to prevent this situation from becoming a situation, whatever it was going to be. But there are some conflicting reports here. You know, the FBI, the Secret Service, they put out this joint statement saying the U.S. Secret Service assesses that the incident did not impact protective operations and former President Trump was not in danger. While no federal arrest at this time, the investigation is ongoing. But do you still see this as a possible assassination attempt? Are you investigating this as a possible assassination attempt?
So my agency will not investigate it at that. That would be the responsibility of Secret Service and or the FBI. I can understand their statement of what they said in a factual perspective and context. We arrested Mr. Miller before President Trump arrived, so there obviously was not a threat at that time, and he was not engaged in anything other than trying to enter the facility. So I understand what they're saying there, and I think I'm going to read between the lines of what they were saying. I believe that they are still going to be looking into the Mr. Miller and why he could have been there or making sure it was legitimate. But we are outside of their investigation, and ours was strictly the stop with the guns, and that's what we arrested him for.
But he wasn't necessarily a threat to anyone involved. I mean, I guess that's an alternative explanation to this, right?
It certainly is. And I believe that that's what the FBI will find out. And that's what they will investigate. And if they determine that, then more power to him. And quite frankly, good for Mr. Miller. But if they find differently, then obviously it's going to be differently. The nuances of what this is it's two different things. It was my responsibility to make sure that he didn't get in that facility, and we did. And he was arrested for it. What his intentions were are irrelevant with him trying to get in, past my deputies and us finding him with the weapons in the car. It's all speculation now of what happens. Of course, he's going to say he didn't do anything and he wouldn't have done anything, but it still doesn't change the fact that we had to contact him for what we contacted him for, and he was on an inner perimeter with weapons. And because in light of what was going on, the heightened security with the president being there with 2 assassination attempts on the inner perimeter of a Trump rally, it's zero tolerance, and he was arrested for those weapons violations. Him claiming now ignorance of the law is not a defense of violating the law.
And Sheriff, you also expressed, correct me if I'm wrong, frustration with the idea of what political party he associated with, who he supported, whether it was President Trump or former President Obama. You said that's not relevant to the situation, right?
It certainly is not. It truly does bother me, no matter what the situation is, when they bring political party into it, because it's irrelevant. It's an individual person, and that individual person is responsible for their own actions, regardless of who they registered to vote for or who they like. And so by making it political, it causes all of these things. Right now you've got Democrats attacking us, you've got Republicans attacking us because they're trying to stick up for someone that claims to be a pro-Trump person and how deep he is into their campaign and such a supporter. It's irrelevant. I mean, all that we know is it was my responsibility to keep that place safe, and he tried to bring guns to a rally. If he did have legitimate paperwork to be there with VIP status, yeah. I had to get that same thing, and the number one thing there was don't bring guns. And so, I mean, it's almost a no-brainer. And I got to go past that, and I want to cover more things than just this. We know nothing about Mr. Miller. There is absolutely no way for us to know anything about Mr. Miller. All my deputy knows is he has, at the inner perimeter, he has a man showing up with firearms who has multiple IDs, multiple passports with different names, and a vehicle that is not registered to anyone with fake paper plates.
It's strange, to say the least, and I know he was hit with these misdemeanor charges. He was released on bail. That's the current law. There could be upgraded charges from the federal government, but we'll wait to see what happens there. But let me just circle it back to what you said at the beginning, Sheriff, and just, again, highlighting the great work that you, your team, local law enforcement did, because this is what we were expecting should have happened in a Butler situation, preventing a situation from becoming a situation. So thank you so much for coming on, and again, great work.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your screen. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.